Hello and welcome. I am Angela Moreno and I will talk about the main topics in the text Pragmatics, saying what you mean. First of all, what are pragmatics? Pragmatics are a conversation in a certain context, and the speaker and the listener are going to understand and produce something that has a certain meaning for the context they are in. I am going to talk about the theory of implicature. In the theory of implicature, a speaker should say something and the listener should implicate or interpret what the other person is saying. In this theory of implicature, there is a cooperative principle, and this means that the participants assume each other to be cooperating. There are four maxims. The first maxim is the maxim of quality, that it shows evidence. It says that the speaker must be saying something that is true and should tell the truth. And in this one, there are hedges. Hedges are words that express uncertainty. A speaker may say something that he or she is not completely sure about, so he or she uses hedges to express themselves. The second maxim is maxim of quantity, which provides the enough information to accomplish a good conversation. In the third maxim, that is the relevance one, as it says, the speaker must make contributions that are relevant to the conversation. The fourth maxim is a maxim of manner, and in this maxim, the speaker should be clear, brief, and should give a sequence to the actions or whatever he is saying to give an order, a correct order. And there are entailments, which are aspects of meaning that are true in all possible words. For example, if the speaker is saying something that has an order that is not understandable, the maxim of manner would not be accomplished because that is not possible. Implicatures means that the conversation is context dependent and it overlays on the meaning of the words used in the context. In flouting the maxims, as it says, there are no negative consequences in communication when infringing maxims. So this says that when maxims are flouted, there are signals that the speaker and the listener make that shows that cooperation is still there and that is maintained, which means that communication is not broken. The politeness theory says that the the conversation, the cooperation between the speakers is beneficial, and the way that we express ourselves is driven by our need to be polite. And there are two phases of this. There is a negative phase and a positive phase. The negative phase is when individuals desire to be free from a certain imposition. And the positive phase is our need to be viewed positively. And there are also face threatening acts. This is something that a speaker wants to minimize in a normal situation. Instead of saying a sentence in a tough, rough, or bad way, they may use indirect speech to hide this and to transform the sentence itself. These acts give status to the certain person. For example, in a conversation between a boss and an employee, this may happen. Sometimes they don't use indirect speech as they are the boss. So, in the politeness theory, there are pre sequences, the pre request and the pre request. The pre request is when someone is avoiding to make a request. For example, if you want to date someone, you don't say, "Would you go out with me?" but say it in an indirect way. That are you doing something on Saturday night or something similar? In the in a in the pre request, a person may be talking to another about movies, for example, and then invite the other person to a certain movie just to date them, so they don't make the direct question. Is it important to teach pragmatics in class? Well, from my perspective, it is important because if students who are learning English have the opportunity to speak with native speakers, they may want to learn how to approach them, how to talk to them in a polite way, because they may make a mistake and say something in an offensive way. So they may want to learn how to speak in a proper way so they can communicate with native speakers. And how would I teach it? Maybe using Spanish, because there are many similar things in pragmatics with Spanish. So I would use maybe Spanish examples or using daily life examples, because that is how it will be meaningful for them, because it was a little bit difficult for me to understand this. So if it was for me, maybe it is going to be hard for them to understand this. Therefore, students need to listen to this and have examples in their own language, or have examples that are taken from their context. That's everything I have to say. Thank you for listening.